You know, we've been talking a lot about Super Tuesday results, and maybe a little bit premature because we did not get the okay from Donna Brazile to discuss the Democrat primary. And as non-Democrats, non-Democrat primary
we shouldn't
voters,
have a say in anything, Dan. Watch yourself.
she got a little testy yesterday on Fox, a little jittery, I think, going into Super Tuesday. She and some of her colleagues that are not necessarily Bernie bros and gals. This Donna Brazile responding to RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, just basically restating pedestrian descriptions of the Democrat primary
There
going
might be
into
a brokered convention. Right?
Going into last night.
It does depend on how big the lead that Sanders takes out of California is, if he picks up a huge proportion of delegates. But I don't see anybody getting out soon, and it's leading towards potentially a broker convention, which will be rigged against Bernie if those superdelegates have their way on that second vote.
To that, you say what, Donna?
First of all, I want to talk to my Republicans. First of all, stay the hell out of our race. Stay the hell out of our race. I get sick and tired, Ed. And Sandra, of listening to Republicans tell me and the Democrats about our process. First of all, they don't have a process. They're canceling primaries. They have winner take all. They don't have the kind of democracy that we see on the Democratic side. And for people to use Russian talking points to sow division among Americans, that is stupid. So, Ronna, go to hell. This is not about. Go to hell. I'm tired of it, Ed. We're not.
Donna, please.
We're not
Family
trying
show.
to prevent anyone from becoming the nominee. If you have the delegates and win, you will win. This notion that somehow or another Democrats are out there trying to put hurdles or roadblocks before one candidate, that's stupid.
Well,
You didn't have to get so nasty.
she's very, very upset. When I debated her in Chicago a couple years
she
ago,
wasn't like that.
oh, she's very
We're
nice.
talking about her dog.
Oh, sure. Her
life
Louisiana
in
roots
DC,
and all
yeah.
that. I don't know. I don't want to be told to go to hell by Donna Brazile, so maybe we shouldn't talk about the results. We should outsource it, I think. Somebody with the standing to talk about them. He is Indiana Senator Mike Braun, and he joins us now. Senator Braun, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning.
And I appreciate your courage and willing to talk about the Super Tuesday results, knowing that you may face the ire of Donna Brazile. So what are we to
Wow.
Yeah, it was something, wasn't it? What are we to make of last night's results? Obviously, a good night for Biden with Bernie underperforming expectations, and that's part of the game in politics, as you know. But do you have any preference? Does the Republican caucus have any preference in who they'd like to see on the top of the ticket for the other side?
You know, I really think that it's becoming increasingly obvious that you either got socialism or socialism light. And when you look at how this has all transpired, let's go back several months ago, this probably, for the people that were prognosticating then, Biden swooned and then came back and is probably in not quite as good a spot as what the prognosticators would have figured 4 to 6 months ago. But he showed that he's going to be continually kind of slipping up on the campaign trail. I think the brass of their party got together, and through what you saw with Pete and Klobuchar, other endorsements that came around on the heels of the South Carolina primary, you talk about machinery kicking into place. I think that's what we've seen, and I believe in terms of how that's going to work vis-a-vis Trump, I don't think it's going to make any difference at this point, because I think their platform, their policy is so far out there that it's going to be a clear contrast either way.
Now, I got to ask you about Mayor Pete, just because he's South Bend mayor, and I don't know, so I'm asking, did you ever run across him in your travels in Indiana? Do you have a relationship with him?
Well, Pete has been aspiring to the big stage, for his entire political career. You could tell that with his move to run for the Democratic chair. All I can tell you is in the only statewide race that he ran in Indiana, he got trounced, and that was by Richard Murdoch, who Joe Donnelly then beat. And then, of course, I beat Donnelly in 2018. So I think he is an outlier politically and philosophically. In the Hoosier State, there are a few places that are going to maybe espouse that point of view of more government when it's proven that it hasn't worked. That's not the solution. And you've got 2 or 3 places, enclaves in a generally conservative state like Indiana, where you can survive politically, but he is not representative of politics. In fact, the southern third of our state, where I'm from, used to all be blue dog Democrats, and through the Clinton and Obama years, that's all converted over to, it's fiscally and culturally more conservative than the rest of Indiana, and now down to the local county, city politics, it's mostly Republican. Most people don't realize that. That's what's put us into a solid conservative situation.
Do you think Mayor Pete, Amy Klobuchar, and Beto's endorsement of Biden helped him on Super Tuesday?
I think probably the pivot point was Clyburn when he made sure that it was going to be a victory with some margin in South Carolina. Had that been tepid, small, I think we'd see the results flipped with Bernie up. I think this still, if you extrapolate the math, it's going to be a situation where I don't think Bernie's going to give up. If the superdelegates and the brass of the party kind of run the show the rest of the way out, I got to imagine there are going to be a lot of disheartened, disgruntled Bernie supporters, and I think that even helps Trump more. So they're between a rock and a hard place, but you got to go back to their policies. When you've got even the mildest in their party wanting to increase the size of the federal government by 50%, we don't pay for 23% of what we spend currently. And why would you want to do more of it? Even for the party that loves government, you'd think they'd want to get it in a healthy financial situation, but they're willing to borrow from future generations, and I think the common sense across this country will say otherwise.
I wanted to get to some policy points, too. I mean, some of this has been overshadowed by the coronavirus scare as well as electoral politics. But, interesting responses from a lot of unusual quarters to the announcement that there is the outline of a peace deal with the Taliban and the removal of the remaining U.S. troops from Afghanistan. Mehdi Hassan writing in The Intercept, on Afghanistan, 3 words I never thought I'd write. Bravo, Donald Trump. What is your reaction? What's the Republican caucus's reaction to what you understand the peace agreement to be with the America and the Taliban?
I think that's just another example. I ran, Trump ran, and there are a few others starting to stick their necks out. That is basically a reflection of business as usual. We don't want to project that into the future, whether it's in foreign affairs or domestically. And for as much guff that Trump takes on anything, I think it's starting to become apparent. When you look at the agenda domestically, the economy is doing well. That's why we're going to fight through the coronavirus. It's going to be a glitch, not a major consideration economically. And when you look at remember, North Korea, Iran, all of our dealings with the Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, it wasn't being knocked out of the park before Trump got there. And something different is the simplest deduction to make. And I think we're starting to see these occur one by one on the foreign front and the domestic front. And it's a spoil sport when you can't be for that. And sadly, that's where the Democrats are. If Trump does it, they don't like it. And I think they'll pay the price for that.
Getting back to coronavirus, the administration's response, are you satisfied with it? And how do you react to the effort to politicize it by some in Democrat ranks?
Well, on the day where we had the behind closed doors briefing, the main spinner, and I call it the Schumer shuffle, just like an impeachment. And that's why I stepped forward there. There weren't many on our side willing to articulate. You do jump into the shark tank with media because they're trying to always catch you in a difficult spot. But when it came to coronavirus, they were extrapolating all the worst that could occur. And we were really and everyone knew it, the best prepared of any country, regardless of how it unfolds. China, obviously, is one that had to learn the hard way, and I'll give them credit that they did do everything to contain it. Trump was smart to cut off travel back and forth. Yeah. That's why it gave us a little bit of time to react. And we had the CDC, the NIH, the Department of Homeland Security, the FDA, everyone standing alert. And that is why you still see media trying to take, sadly, where most of our extreme instances have occurred in a nursing facility on the West Coast, and then they'll pick some point to accent, like not getting the test kits out quickly enough and broadly enough. That, again, I think people see through it. All along, I was quite confident that we were in good shape. Appointing VP Pence to be the point person was smart. And then you got Chuck Schumer out there doing what he did in impeachment, running down to the sticks, to the microphone to try to spin it otherwise.
Well, so you're 100% confident in Mike Pence and that President Trump is doing all that we can to prevent the spread of this disease?
Definitely. The VP was in at our Senate luncheon yesterday. We had 4 key administration officials in on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee, which I sat in on. And yes, this is not going to be the last time. We have a microorganism that's more virulent than what preceded it, and we need to take it seriously. But this idea that for some reason Trump was flat-footed is emblematic of what they've tried to do from the day he has gotten there, because, again, like I said earlier, he reflects the fact that people are frustrated with business as usual, and all of the people that spin it otherwise have been here a long time.
He is Mike Braun. He's the Republican senator from Indiana, one of the two. Boy, it must be nice to have 2 Republican senators. Senator Braun, thanks so much for joining us. As always, appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Conventions and trade shows going dark around the world. United Auto Workers selling the home of their former union boss. NBA ordering no more high fives with fans. Those stories next. In a recent survey, investors shared what they felt were the greatest threats to their retirement. It's no surprise the most common threats include stock market volatility, economic uncertainty, conflict in the Middle East, the 2020 presidential impeachment, and election. Unfortunately, there are many threats beyond your control that can affect your retirement savings. At Goldco, a leader in precious metals, the team believes one way to protect your investment portfolio is with physical gold and silver. Goldco has helped thousands of investors safeguard their retirement, especially in times of uncertainty. In fact, if you call 855-971-2006, Goldco will send you a free 1-ounce silver American Eagle coin. And all you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. No obligation. 100% free. Call 855-971-2006 to get your free silver American Eagle coin. That's 855-971-2006. The coronavirus outbreak causing marketers to cancel trade shows and conventions around the globe. The International Motor Show in Geneva, the latest to pull the plug, putting automakers' new products and press conferences online instead. Other events going virtual